Alright, looks like we're good. Slash, I guess we're on stream, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So I'm gonna reset the game just to get the shop inventory to be proper and all that. So this is Unlimited SaGa. You might have seen the run earlier in the marathon this morning, but we're gonna assume you didn't and explain everything from the top. I am joined by Falcon on commentary.
Again, hello. It's time for my favorite video game.
So yeah, we did 2 runs last year. They didn't go well, so this is part of the redemption arc. And this one has special significance because it's the run Falcon did, and that went well. Slash didn't finish.
Yep.
So this is revenge.
That went very well in multiple ways.
So I'm gonna do a countdown without any further ado. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. So yeah, Judy. Judy is the shortest route for Unlimited SaGa. It's the tightest in terms of equipment, in terms of materials, in terms of money, in terms of chaos. Yeah, Judy is interesting.
Yeah, the good thing about Judy is that you get a lot of stuff you need for free, and it's short. The bad thing is that you don't have a lot of resources to work with, and not a lot of time to get the setup you need for the Chaos fight, which, if you're familiar with this game, you'll understand why the Chaos fight's important to prepare for. And if you have heard about this game, you probably have a poor opinion of it. You might be out there thinking this game's great, and me and Falcon are one of those people, 2 of those people rather, that actually do enjoy this game unironically. So this is a pro Unlimited SaGa stream.
Yeah, we're the weirdos that really enjoy it.
That being said, it is pretty messed up. Especially when they made the English release, because there's a strategy guide that explains some of the mechanics. But they never released that on the English version. So it's up to the internet to translate the Japanese guide and post some of the mechanics to GameFAQs and whatnots.
Yeah, shout out to the Game System FAQ by Ram Tiger on GameFAQs. Shout out to Kakwa. They've both contributed a lot.
But yeah, if you try to play this game without like using an online guide, you'd hate it because nothing is self-evident. None of the systems make sense unless you read about it.
Yeah.
So I do not blame people for hating the game, especially
it's obtuse in it's obtuse in the worst way.
Well, we gotta save Grandpa. He's in a mirror. To do that, we get our family, which has been scattered all throughout the world. So that's the lore update.
I think my internet's dying. I hope it isn't. But yeah, Chaos was talking about resetting before. Shop inventories are determined on console start, and they're always the same. The very first shop you enter the very first shop in the first town you're in is always the same, basically. So if you're doing multiple runs of Judy, you need to be careful and reset your console after every run. Otherwise the shop inventory is different and that changes everything.
So
But
nice
yeah,
encounter right
this
off
game
the
is
bat.
strange. Everything is weird in this game.
It's a good summation.
Yeah.
So ideally you don't get an encounter on this screen, but I did, and I wasn't supposed to punch there, but that's fine. It's not a big deal if you do. Just waste time. And you haven't done your equipment setup yet, so you don't have a dagger on Judy yet. I'm
Daggers
honestly
are
not
important.
entirely sure why we wait to do the equipment, but I'm not going to question the guide. I think there might be an explanation for why you wait for the second screen to actually do the equipment menu. If I can recall.
Probably because if you get into an encounter, it just slows down everything. Like, I think ideally you don't get into encounters, so you don't waste time equipping. There's cars in Unlimited SaGa, apparently.
There's cars?
Yeah, I just heard cars.
Oh. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta keep my window open because it's 86 degrees in my room.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
That's not that hot. Oh, I don't know. I don't know freedom units, sorry.
You're in Australia,
yeah.
So you have
I'm
a weird
winter.
sense of... oh yeah, also that.
Winter and yeah, summer is 40 degrees Celsius. That's what I'm used to.
Yikes.
Yeah, this game, in case it wasn't fairly obvious, is pretty inspired by tabletop RPGs. So you move around the maps with a little miniature that's all based on turn. Instead of dice rolls, it's all slot reels. Basically every action uses a reel.
Yeah, except Aura in the English version, but Aura might not come up in this run. It's a move you can use to reduce encounter rates. Some scenarios you get it by default in one of the characters you get. In this scenario, you do not get Aura by default, so you kind of hope you learn it, because it saves a bunch of time if you do end up getting it. And if I get some other moves related to Aura, I'll be using them to increase the chances of me getting Aura. And that's all a part of the panel stuff, but once the first panel screen comes up, we can start explaining that stuff. But yeah, for this adventure, it's pretty straightforward. We just keep moving north in the forest maze, and we'll eventually get to the exit. You kind of don't want to see too many encounters. The only encounter, or the only type of enemy you're realistically going to fight are insects, because they have a high aggro rate, whereas everything else has a pretty low aggro rate that you'll run into here. So you kind of want to avoid seeing insects as much as possible. Not that you have any control over it. And I ran into a bunch of insects there, so that's why I got a bunch of encounters. So this is the first sort of boss fight. It has 3 LP, so it's not really a boss. It dies pretty quickly. But we just try to do a quick combo with Judy and Kurt. If you have multiple people in a single combo, it does more damage, so you try to get Judy and Kurt to do a multi-attack with each other. And probably a good time to explain the combat system a bit, if you want to do that.
So, yeah, combat in this game is done through reels, as you've seen. Basically, you get 5 attacks per turn. It doesn't matter how many times a character attacks, so one character can attack once or attack 5 times. Whoever's attacking comes out in the field, and they're able to be targeted. So for a lot of this run, it's just going to be 2 or 3 people on the field, because you have a couple characters you use multiple attacks at once. Everything's done through reels, as we've stated before. So your attacks and the arts you learn, and magic and everything, is done through reels. Turn order is strange. Yeah. This is the panel screen. Basically, instead of traditional experience points and levels and stuff like that, everything's done through these panels. So every characters have strength and like stats similar to that, and magic stats. And basically you place panels on that 7-panel grid, and that increases your stats and gives you access to more abilities. So Chaos was talking about Aura before. What we're hoping is that an Aura panel pops up in that screen. It's largely random, but you can influence it. If an Aura panel pops up, he can just put it on that grid, and then he has access to Aura on that character from every adventure after that.
And Aura's good because it speeds things up. Aura is not the thing you'd necessarily need for a marathon run, because Aura also means you're fighting less enemies, which means that you're going to get worse panels at the end of the adventure. So it's not
Yeah.
a big deal if we don't get aura here. It's kind of whatever. And if you're going for
Less
a super
enemy-
good time, though, you'd want to definitely get it.
Less enemies means less HP growth with characters, and yeah, less chance to get good panels. It's more important in Judy than it is in basically any other scenario because, as was stated before, Judy's very short and very tight. There's not that many adventures, so there's not that many chances to actually get panels or HP growth.
And right now we're going to happen upon Armand, who's going to be our axe user. After we do this adventure, he's going to join our team. And this scenario is a single axe adventure route. I did not say that correct. Single axe user route. Which basically means instead of 2 axe users, if you saw the previous run where we had Hero and Iskandar using axes, we're only going to be using 1 person. And the downside of that is that if they take a lot of LP damage, you're pretty much screwed for the chaos fight, so you gotta be a bit more protective of your axe user in that fight if you only have 1 of them. In this fight,
Yeah,
we'll use
LP.
a spell first, so that the enemy will use all of its moves, because spells are max distance.
Slow. Yeah, attacks have speeds, and like distance comes into it, so it doesn't look obvious, but the farther away an attack is, or the closer an attack is, the turn order's affected. It goes earlier or later. LP is basically your HP in this game. If you saw SaGa Frontier 2, like it's very similar to that. That's the SaGa series staple. If you run out of LP, your character dies. If your main character runs out of LP, it's game over. HP in this game is the weird stat. It's essentially a buffer for your LP, so the more HP you have, the less chance you have of taking LP damage. Not that it matters in the end, because you still take LP damage anyway. It's fairly random whatever happens, so we don't really worry about it in the runs, but casually, HP is pretty important.
Yeah, you just go with whatever HP you end up having.
Now we have Armand. Armand's the god of unlimited SaGa. Like, he's very powerful.
Yeah, he's got a strength modifier of 5, which means that his strength stat will grow as fast as it possibly can. And also a skill modifier of 5, which helps with doing LP damage.
Yeah, strength increases HP damage and skill increases LP damage. So you'll see that with Armand we'll build strength because he eventually starts using an attack called Reverse Delta, which has a higher chance of dealing LP damage anyway. And so you want him to deal more HP damage to decrease that buffer. But every other character will be built for skill, so that whenever they're attacking, they at least have a small chance of dealing LP damage as well.
So we got our piece of Moloch, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, most of Judy is spent gathering materials, doing the adventures we need to, just so you can make the equipment to barely survive chaos.
So one of the good things is that we do get an iron axe from Thomas for free, so we can use that iron axe to make the steel and black axe, which we'll need for the final boss. Some scenarios you have to find iron during the route. Oops, that should be fine. Which is a bit of RNG because all the shop lists are random, so you kind of gotta hope that a shop will eventually carry iron. But this is a good scenario where they give you the iron for free. And because we only have 1 axe user, we don't have to worry about finding additional iron.
Yeah, money's really tight in Judy's route, so the more things we get, the better.
So we don't want to see any multi-target encounters this early because we don't have bows with random arrow shot. The backup is using shock, as I just used there. It's not as powerful though, and we also have very limited uses. And we do need those uses for later on, for a specific adventure where we used a bunch, and also because we use the same item that's casting shock to cast a different spell on the chaos fight. And whenever you cast a spell, it uses 1 point of durability on the item you're using that has the spell, or the magic arts tied to it. Friggin'
No,
hit the
spells
bird.
are very strange. Spells are very, very strange. I don't know how they work exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Spells are kind of outside the bounds of speedruns for the most part, so we don't know too much about them. Yeah, even the shops are random. You influence it a little bit by increasing the market rank, which involves spending money. So the more money you spend, the more your market rank will increase and the higher level items you can get.
And certain towns have like a tendency to stock a specific type of item.
Yeah, so
So towns like
Vatham,
Solofero and Solofero will have wood, Vafton will have iron,
yeah,
stuff like that.
and Wando will have copper and bestial stones mostly. Alright, this is another boss. There's a lot of mini bosses in this scenario, but they're all pretty free. And they all have basically the same strat of using a spell to consume all the enemy's moves before you do a long combo. And the reel works differently for guns than it does every other move, because you start off with all the panels you need to do max damage with the gun. The actual reel is also affected by what level... Oh, I did that wrong. Maybe I still gotta shoot. Okay, that's good. But the reel basically has a bunch of misses and some hits spread out. So I want to hit the hits, specifically the one that says hit with 3 exclamation marks.
It's basically the crit for the gun.
Yeah.
Not that there's critical hits in this game, but
It's
that's
not
essentially
too hard
what
to
it is.
time.
The chance to spark arts, like to learn new arts, new weapon attacks, and how many panels are on the reels is influenced by the panels you get at the end of adventures. So the higher level panel you have, like level 1 through 5, the higher spark rate you have, and the more like level 2, level 3, level 4 art panels you have on the reel, which is a detriment in some cases. So for Armand, we don't really want axe panels, despite him being the axe user, because reverse delta will appear multiple times in a different spots, and because axe panels aren't guaranteed, it's much easier to just never put an axe panel on your axe users and practice hitting the reverse delta with no axe panel than it is to rely on RNG.
And throughout the scenarios, or throughout the fights, I'm going to be using punch and kick with Armand. Not because I actually want to punch and kick, that's just to build up martial arts history. And because that will influence me getting punch, kick, and throw panels, which we want to build lines with the martial arts to get strength bonuses, because... Did we explain the line bonuses and all that?
No, we
Okay.
didn't.
So, it's not just the panels you place on the panel board, but also, like, the formation. So if 2 panels with the same picture are joined together, you get an additional bonus, depending on what picture they are. Martial arts gives a bonus in strength, so we try to get a line bonus by having a bunch of... yeah.
Yeah, you try to get a bunch of martial arts panels in a line, basically. We try to do it from top right to bottom left. Because top right is where strength increases the most. And if you make the line there, the strength stat will be increased by a lot. You can also make a triangle, which increases panel bonuses, increases stats the most, but is pretty difficult. And you can do joint bonuses where you just place the same panel next to each other. So for the skill users, we'll be doing joint panels a lot, trying to get keys because that increases skill the most. But for axe users, the end goal is basically having a line with some other high-level panels to increase strength.
So these fights are pretty free. You queue up a shock to kill them all, try to kill as many as possible to open the fight. And then, if there's 2 or less left, you just stab the remaining ones, and if there's more than 2, then you just throw another shock to hopefully kill them all. And this is a random adventure that happens without selecting it. And it just involves killing a bunch of bandits that invaded the town.
You need to be careful with shock uses, because as Chaos mentioned, attacks use durability. And if a weapon or an item breaks, you can't use the attacks on it anymore. It's pretty important in this scenario, because like money is so tight and you don't get access to a lot of materials. You can't easily replace a broken knife or a broken black axe in the middle of the final dungeon. So, yeah.
And this is the final bandit fight. They've gone pretty smoothly so far. It's not a whole lot that can go bad. As long as shock kills like 4 of them. You don't really want to use shock twice in a single battle because that wastes its usages. Which gives you less options if you run into a multi-target fight later on, before you get a bow that has multi-target attacks. Yeah, this adventure went smoothly enough.
Yeah.
That's kind of Judy's scenario there. There's not a whole lot that can go wrong during the actual scenario. It's just once you get to the chaos fight, you're either well set up or not.
Yeah. A lot of the like time variance in Judy's scenario is just random encounters and how you handle them.
Yeah, we want that.
So yeah, Chaos is buying specific materials for later on in the run where we'll be smithing up the end game weapons. Smithing is like complicated and kind of random, but if you combine certain materials together, you can pretty reliably get the things you need.
Yeah, it's all based on a weight, so if you're merging the right materials, you should get, for the most part, the outcomes you want. Sometimes it's a 50-50. Like if you're smithing steel with copper to try to get time-lapse, you have a 50% chance of getting it. Time-lapse is the move on an axe that we want to have. Ideally, we pick up some lead, which guarantees you get time-lapse. That's not relevant to this run because you have an axe that starts with time-lapse, so you just gotta hope that you don't lose it while smithing.
Yeah. Yeah, weapons can have different base abilities, so an axe will have time lapse, bows can have quick shot or random arrow shot, multi-shot, and that determines what arts you can spark off of it. So there's different attack lines, basically. And time lapse is important because it doesn't have that many arts in that attack line, and the final art in the line, Reverse Delta, is one of the strongest attacks in the game.
This fight, same deal. We use a spell to consume all the enemy's moves, so we can do a big combo.
Yeah, enemies, especially bosses, but sometimes even random encounters, especially later on in the game, have multiple attacks. It doesn't really matter until Chaos in this route.
Yeah.
Because none of the enemies are that powerful, but it's still an important thing to note. A pretty big strategy in Chaos fights for every scenario is using up all of Chaos's actions as early as possible so you can start doing combos. Combos are very powerful. He has 1 LP left, I think.
Yeah. Just give him one more slash and that'll be it for this guy. And the plot, I don't really know the plot of the scenario, but basically there's an evil magician that is trying to use dark magic to make himself immortal. And for some reason he needs Rebecca, your mom, to help him cast the magic. And to prevent him from capturing Rebecca, your grandfather scattered your entire family across the world. So now Judy's trying to find her family before the evil magician does.
There seem to be some secrets hidden in the world of magic
I think Rebecca has like a magic tablet or something.
Well, they think Rebecca is the
need.
reincarnation of
Oh, yeah.
something Ambrosia.
All I can remember is Ambrosia because Judy's voice is the worst. So yeah,
Alice
basically
Ambrosia.
this scenario. There you go. This scenario is just going around the world, picking up all your family members.
And so far we got our brother. I guess that's it right now.
Yeah, we picked up Kurt and Armand, and now we rescued our brother, and it's off to get the character we don't use, whose name I can't remember.
That's
the younger sister.
Whoa. Come down with the Moloch.
I mean, it's pretty useful anyway. This is the first scenario. No, this is the wrong scenario. I was thinking of the boat. But around now is where we start... If we want to get aura, we start using the ability called eavesdrop. Chaos mentioned history before. If you build up martial arts panels, you get martial arts panels. If you use key panels, so abilities like eavesdrop, you have more chance to get key panels. And aura, the ability that is pretty useful to have is on a key panel.
Yeah.
It's not necessary, but it saves time essentially. It reduces the aggro rate of monsters because we don't have random encounters, but certain monster types are more aggressive than others, and the game reflects that by this aggro rate system.
And I don't currently have eavesdrop, so I can't spam it. I could. That was one of those situations where I could use it.
Yeah, I thought Roy had it by default.
Oh, does he?
I don't know.
Well, we should probably check that. I didn't think he... Oh, wait, southeast. Wait, I did go southeast. I get lost somehow. Yeah, I went...
Yeah, hard part about these runs is trying to remember where to go because it's so abstract.
Okay. I thought I went east already, but I hadn't gone east yet. Alright, we're fine, we're fine. Oh yeah, I guess he does.
So yeah, every action you do, whether it's an ability like eavesdrop or moving, is basically a turn in the game, and all the monsters on the current map will move every turn. Some monsters, especially the more aggressive types, will move towards you, other monsters just roam around. It's all dependent on their type.
And beasts only have an aggro rate of 5%, so it's pretty unlucky that we got this fight. But on the other hand, oh Jesus Christ.
Ooh, that's not good.
It's fine, he's dead. It's fine. So, Judy only has 10 LP, and that beast just did 5 LP damage to her. And being the scenario character, if she dies, it's game over.
That would have been...
It's fine. Alright.
So yeah, key panels increase strength a lot, increase skill a lot. Martial arts panels increase strength. The weapon panels are just generally overall pretty good, though some are weaker than others. So the staff panels are pretty weak. Like increased stats pretty not much words. But you get panels like swords or axes that increase stats a lot.
Okay. So I guess we're making a lead knife instead of a copper knife.
Will I have parry?
Yeah.
Okay. You just got lucky with lead.
Cotton. Yeah.
Can you game over from trap? I think
I've never seen it
potentially
happen.
you can. Because if you critically fail the trap reel enough times with Judy, it'll start doing LP damage. So I think you technically can.
I'm not
I'm
sure
not sure.
if can give the killing blow.
Yeah,
Let's
I don't
find
know if
out.
it can take the last. Yeah. Yeah, SaGa 2019 bonus stream. How many weird ways can we die in Unlimited SaGa?
Oh, that's not a good fight to get. This fight sucks. It's multi-target, and they're pretty resilient enemies. But hopefully one good shock will take them out. We still have a bunch of charges with shock, so we don't have to worry about too much.
That's good. This is the first adventure where Aura comes in handy. If you have an Aura level 2 panel, there's a chance you don't actually get into encounters with these guys. Not a high chance, but a chance. And there's
somewhat lucky that they all grouped up, so I don't run into them a bunch of times, because they basically are guaranteed fights.
But yeah, there's a lot of just moving around before the last boss, and there's a lot of enemies. More chances to get martial arts panel.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about getting a bunch of encounters. It's actually probably good.
Yeah. The better strength Armand has, the more HP damage Reverse Delta does, and the quicker Chaos starts taking LP damage, basically.
You basically want your axe user to do at least 499 damage, or above that, because that's when you start doing way more, or you have a way better chance of doing LP damage. You just need enough strength to break that barrier. Then anything else is just bonus to kill things quicker.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think skeletons are pretty susceptible to lightning. Apparently not that one. This is a crazy amount of fights for this scenario.
Hopefully the top of the ship is okay and not swarmed with enemies.
Yeah, we've already built up a decent amount, and we got parry on that knife, so that's good.
That's very good. So yeah, parry in Ruby, the Ruby run earlier today, a lot of swords were made that had the deflect ability on it. Basically deflect and parry have a percentage chance of that character not taking any damage. Deflect has a 33% chance and parry has a 29%. It's realistically lower than that, but I think the data is 29 and 33. And there's not many ways to actually increase your defense in this game, and parry and deflect are one of them. Just having a percentage chance to not take damage is very good.
Yeah, so giant enemy crab here. It has 5 LP. We ideally kill in one turn, but that very rarely happens. Helps if you randomly spark abilities while you're doing the combo.
Oh, especially with a spear.
Yeah.
Spears, daggers. Spears less so, but daggers and bows are, have a very high chance of dealing LP damage. Swords and axes are more HP damage focused.
For battle. Alright, we got him.
Easy fight.
Yeah, every fight's easy.
Yeah,
Until that one.
Until the birds.
Oh yeah, those two. So we're taking the boat to Vaftum because there's a festival going on, I guess. I'm not really sure why we're going to Vaftum. Oh yeah, I think we heard that Mary, our sister, is around that area.
Yeah, it's all just chasing down your family and following rumors.
So while we're in Vaftum, we can go to the festival. We actually do need to watch the festival to progress the story here, unlike in the Ruby run where it's purely optional. And I went there anyways, because I messed up. So yeah, decent graphics. You get to watch some fireworks. And the festival was put on because some king's wife died, and he was bummed out about it. And she liked celebrations, so they hold a celebration in her honor. Regina Leone. And then at night they hold a sort of mass funeral for everyone that's passed away that year. I believe. I believe that's the lore. And Judy's gonna march in the parade without a license or a permit.
Judy's a rebel.
It's true. She doesn't understand rules. Yeah, this is the funeral part.
Used to be lively, but now it's so quiet.
And there's some burned down building here. I'm not really sure what that building is. It's probably explained at some point. There was like a huge war at some point.
People watching the
It was probably destroyed during that war.
People praying with their eyes closed. Everybody remembering the people they loved.
Judy's pretty stoked about the
Quiet,
fires though.
but somehow comforting. In moments like these, time passes.
And there are two moons. We'll be seeing them later. In the final
The
fight.
good moon. The good moon and the evil moon.
It's good.
So yeah, more shopping. Do you have all the wood you need?
Yeah, basically. No armor here. So we have copper lead that we need. We just need armor for Armand and some light materials, I believe. So shopping's going decently. Ideally, we find armor with slash barrier on it, because that'll help prevent some of the damage that Chaos does, because a lot of his attacks are slash based. Rock mail, that's a bit expensive. Screw it. So it might be a little low on light materials. We'll see what happens.
My sister.
Might have to sell some
Nothing
stuff.
seems to faze her. She's as calm as ever. But I suppose she just might know what she's doing.
So we got armor for Armand. We sold his cloth armor. It's an optional thing you can do. You can either sell it or give it to Kurt. I like to sell it because it gives me some additional funds.
Yeah, the more defensive things you can give Armand, the better.
So this is the next adventure. You just mash. You can explore, but the adventure ends after 100 turns, so it's faster just to mash through the whole thing.
It's time to hear the mashing. Except we can't hear them mashing.
Yeah,
Oh no.
very quiet masher.
Man,
I'm trained from
mashing's
the
the
apples.
best part. Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, this isn't technically a side quest, but basically the main story quests in Unlimited Saga don't have turn limits whatsoever. But a lot of the side quests have a set turn limit. So I mentioned before that any action you do passes a turn. So you essentially have 100 actions you can do in this scenario. before the quest just ends. So casually you could go around, find pieces of a magic tablet and try to assemble a forbidden magic tablet that has access to like dark magic or something to that effect. But we don't use magic in the speedrun, so we just mash through 100 turns.
In the end, we couldn't find it.
Yep, we tried very hard, standing in one spot, doing nothing, but we couldn't find it, so off we go to look for our mum. I'm surprised you got a blue paddle.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Doesn't really matter.
You stood still. Here's a blue paddle.
Good job. So that's a free deflect weapon, so I'm going to take that, so I don't have to worry about having some light materials.
Oh, that's nice.
Might as well save, haven't saved in a while. Nothing really bad can happen, but Judy having low OP, you kind of want to be a little cautious, just in case random curveball gets thrown at you like a beast doing 5 LP damage.
Yeah, now is the... we're getting towards the end of the scenario, and now is just point A to point B adventures, trying to look for Judy's mother.
Yeah, so this is like a 4-part adventure, basically, looking for your mom. And it's just a whole lot of walking through hallways and force. Alright, that dagger broke. That's fine. So how many shocks do we have left? 4 shocks, okay, so we can still handle this fight. We only need 1 shock by the end. So we have 2 more uses after this fight, basically.
Yeah, this is where Aura starts coming into use a lot more, because these adventures just being going from point A to point B, you want to avoid random encounters and just get them over done with as soon as you can. If you still have eavesdrop panels, you can also use them here, try to build history to get Aura again, because Aura in the final dungeon is nice to have. But again, it's not really necessary. And the more random encounters you get into, the higher chance you have of getting better panels.
Yeah.
Which in a marathon
to fight
setting
a
is useful.
Vegeplasts only have a 10% chance of attacking you, so it's kind of annoying when they do attack you.
Stun, nice.
Yeah, throw has a chance of stunning, which is very necessary for that fight.
Yep. Yeah, status elements in this game, I mean, they kind of don't matter but kind of do at the same time. So, most of them, like, there's things like blind or confuse, I think it is, or paralysis, that just affect the attack reels. But then you get status elements like Blackout. Blackout just basically makes the character unable to do anything for a few turns. And it's very mean. And this being a SaGa game, the last boss has access to it. Because of course it does. It doesn't happen very often, so it's not really necessary to go out of your way to try and prevent it. But when it does happen, it's not good.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I don't think that was that important, though.
Oh yeah, that doesn't matter. You don't need a magic tablet,
Yeah.
so it's fine. Yeah, all the way up until the save point in the final dungeon, you're just hoping you get good panels, because Judy not having that many adventures, it's kind of important that you get decent ones.
So this evil wizard dude's still freaking out. Apparently he's found Rebecca, though.
Mysteries of the forbidden spell will be mine.
Yeah, he's trying to find out things
forbidden
about the
spell.
forbidden spell, so we can utilize that power and do something. I'm not sure what his
Like
end goal
becomes
is.
young again and might be immortal.
Oh yeah, he's power hungry.
Classic.
Yeah,
So
and then
bandana.
he tries to get his power from chaos, and bad things happen. Again, classic, happens all the time.
I also mentioned something about selling his soul to a vampire or something, which might tie into Ventus's scenario because you fight a vampire.
It was also never brought up again in
Yeah.
Judy's scenario.
Super random. Oh, by the way, this vampire. Anyways.
Yeah, by the way, vampires exist. Hi.
Thought you should know.
So yeah, end of this scenario, we're removing everyone's equipment, like just shuffling equipment around in preparation for the big blacksmithing part coming up. And that's basically where we create all of our endgame weapons. So a bunch of like parry daggers, the black axe, which involves making perfect steel, I think we settled on, and perfect mullock. Just like
Yes.
rarer, rarer, rarer quality materials. And if you combine both of them together, you get a Damascus material weapon. And Damascus is the best material in the game for attacks. We do that, and then we make a bunch of bows with our multi-shot and random arrow shot. And that's all preparation for chaos, essentially.
So this is the major forging section coming up. I don't think we have much money. We can sell some of that random... we'll see if there's anything useful here. Nothing useful anyways. So we'll save beforehand because we do want to get the black axe, so if we don't get it, we'll reset until we do.
Yeah, more so than in most other scenarios. It's very important to get the black axe in this. Any damage increase you can get's very good. It's possible to finish the run without a black axe. It's just a normal steel axe, but the already difficult chaos fight gets much harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a percentage chance that you can get perfect steel. I think it's 15%. Perfect Murloc is a 100% chance all the time. So you're just combining wood with normal steel, and yeah, 15% chance you'll get perfect steel.
I had a lot of wood there, so I was pretty unlucky.
Yeah. So
the additional
all the
benefit of this is that you get a lot of durability on that axe, which you need.
durability is
things might happen.
important. Yeah, so all the wood Chaos has been buying is basically just to increase the chances of steel too.
So
Oh,
I got
perfect steel, sorry. Nice.
perfect steel, yeah. And it has perfect durability, and okay. I lost no ability, but I already had a third ability, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, you have time lapse, so it's all good. So now it's making parry daggers, as many as you need. Basically just using the random materials he's had from equipment to get that. Parry is important. Again, has a chance to negate all damage from attacks. That's important to increase the chances of weaker characters, or all characters in general really, but specifically your lower LP characters from dying too quickly. Doesn't always trigger, but when it does, it's very nice.
Alright.
Bows, mentioned earlier that bows and daggers have a good chance of dealing LP. So that's one reason bows are important. Another reason is that because you fight chaos in space, essentially, the distance is pretty far, and so the game, if you use a ranged weapon, the game has that go before anything else. Like, puts it higher in the turn order, essentially. It's,
I'm gonna go to
it's
that
very
room real quick
weird.
to make a staff.
Oh, for Bone Crusher, right?
Yeah. I want that
I thought you had
feather.
a staff already.
Oh, I could use that fur actually. You do get a staff by default, but it doesn't have block on it.
Oh yeah.
So just to be safer, I use the dagger that doesn't have... Why isn't that fur showing up? I guess I do need to buy that feather. Guess you can't make a staff out of fur. That's weird.
Shocking. The more knowledge you have about smithing, the more things you can make, especially if you're like, if you get lucky in shops and you're good with the money, the little money that you have, you can actually get some pretty good stuff.
That's the one. There we go. Without further ado, so that went well. Took a bit of time, more time than you would spend in a normal run, but gotta make sure we kill the chaos. And now on to Looking for Mom Part 3. Good thing about plot adventures that they're available from any town, no matter where you're supposed to be leaving from. So even though I'm supposed to be leaving from the town I arrived at, it just lets me select the quest from anywhere. Give him the sword. Give you the staff, and you guys don't get anything. Alright, so setup for 4 of our 7 final characters is done. We don't get to equip one of the final 7 because they join at the end of the scenario, right before the final boss. So you can only set up 6 characters with deflect weapons, unfortunately. So this is the last scenario before we get to a scenario with an actual, like, boss in it. Actually, that. So we have time-lapse on the Black Axe, but that's not the ability we need. We actually want Reverse Delta, which you learn by using time-lapse. How that works is that when you fight an enemy with a high enough spark rank, which every monster has a spark rank consigned to it, there's a chance you'll learn a higher level ability. We need a spark rank of at least 6 to be able to learn Reverse Delta off of time-lapse. And the fight we're going to be doing has a spark rank of 6, so it's the lowest possible spark rank you can have and still be able to get it. So yeah, this is the last one where we're just kind of walking through random places. Next scenario, we're going up a tower, which doesn't take very long, then it's on to the final dungeon. And the final dungeon's pretty special, but we'll get to that when we get there. Use multi-shot on this guy to kill him quickly. I also kind of want to use bows for Kurt and Roy because that increases their chance of getting bow panels, which we want a level 2 bow panel on them to increase their odds of getting triple shot for the final boss, and also sets up their reel to combo with Armand for the final boss. I think we might have lost Falcon. Falcon, are you there?
Oh,
Okay.
my internet is being funny.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
No problem.
Also, yeah, this part's just kind of
Yeah, there's not much going on anyways.
go places.
And one more screen after this. And we have all the martial arts panels, the level 2 ones are in Armand, so it's just a matter of... I do a strength setup where you do a middle line with the martial arts panels for level 2, and then try to put the highest ability growth panels I can find in the top 2 slots. It doesn't always work for this scenario because of the lack of panels you get. Sometimes you want to like use the level 2 panel for multiple things. But there's a chance you'll get a better strength set by the end if you get all the panels you need. And so far it's worked out well. Ideally you get 2 level 3 panels at the top row there. And 2 key panels at the bottom to increase the skill, because keys, when they're lined up next to each other, give a skill bonus. Yeah, getting a lot of encounters. It's no big deal. This will just be a bit of a slower run. And as long as we kill Chaos, it should still be well under estimate. First try, that is. Assuming nothing goes wrong during the mirror section.
There's always a chance. Yeah, Judy's final dungeon is me, basically. You've got to find these items scattered around everywhere. They appear in random, well, not random, but they have a random chance of appearing in certain spots. And there's these mean birds around that are very powerful, and
Ruin your day.
yeah, the birds are mean.
So one of the reasons I'm queuing up Roy multiple times is that their HP increases the more times they use abilities in battle, and because we already have the martial arts panels we need on Armand, we don't really have to queue up stuff for him too much. We're not going to get a level 3 panel on this adventure anyway, so no real point. Probably slightly better. Kind of getting screwed over on Roy's panels.
Yeah, the final stats of the characters in Judy's scenario are pretty low.
So this guy tells us about a tower that Rebecca went to, or something. So now we gotta go to the tower to save Mom. At last, we'll finally meet Mother. It's kind of like Final Fantasy VII, if you really think about it.
Bring that back, avalanche.txt.
Yeah, avalanche.txt, man. It all comes together. So ideally, this tower climb is pretty uneventful. You don't typically run into too many enemies, unlike now where I ran into an enemy at first chance I got. I'll probably actually, if I do get another encounter, queue up some more martial arts panels for Armand, because there's a chance that you'll get a level 3 panel from this scenario.
To stay sharp.
Gosh dang.
Yeah,
I'll
random
queue up a bunch of
encounters.
stuff.
Random encounters eat up a lot of time. It's the reason Aura is so useful.
Yeah. For these guys, it wouldn't matter that much because they have like 160% aggro rate. HP isn't super important, but might as well increase it if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, if you can have one turn less where you take OP damage, it's good. It's less less shuffling around of characters in the chaos fight.
Hey, nice job.
Whenever Kurt claps for someone, it sounds really ironic, like he's being sarcastic. It's like, hey, nice job. It's like, oh, thanks. And you might notice that I'm running into a bunch of traps. The more party members you have, the more likely you are to run into a trap every time you move.
First we've seen
So when you have a full party, it just basically means you're gonna just run into a trap every time you move. It's fun. They don't really do anything, they'll never influence the run in a negative way, really. Unless you somehow die to them. But just kind of waste time because you gotta go through the whole reel.
Yeah, they'll
And
lower
because you
your
don't
HP,
care, you just
but
kind of mash so that you get destroyed, but whatever.
your HP, like having HP, doesn't really matter until chaos.
And you can always take the Tetra Force before Chaos to get all your HP and LP back.
Yeah. I can't imagine fighting Clyde without touching the Tetraforce. Ballsy move.
Yeah, if you haven't fought any birds, you might be able to get away with it.
Yeah.
Because you do get an HP refill and half your LP back when you fight Chaos. Be nice if they gave all the LP back. Unless you're died, then you get 1 LP. So it's just kind of a spit in the face if one of your characters dies. It's like, hey, they're back. They have 1 LP. You can totally do something with this character. So up now is the dragon fight. And I really want to learn reverse delta here. It's ideal that I learn reverse delta here. It's not necessary. But to try to get that to happen, I'm going to be spamming reverse delta as much as physically possible
I'm always.
until I finally get it.
I never pretend.
So there's a chance I'll just go through this entire fight, spamming time-lapse, doing all 10 LP damage and not getting reverse delta. But ideally, that doesn't happen. And if Armand starts taking a lot of damage, I can put in a tank to kind of help him. And the fight itself isn't too dangerous. He doesn't do a crazy amount of LP damage. So you can kind of just spam time-lapse as much as you want in hopes of getting reverse delta before you kill the dragon yourself. Yeah, spark grinding. If you don't get during this fight, you can either get in a bird fight while you are doing the final dungeon or in the scenario final boss. Or if you're really unlucky, you get it during the chaos fight. But that's not going to happen. We won't allow that to happen.
Yeah, some of the enemy designs in this game are
Yeah, those
interesting.
wings are in a weird place. Now that you mention it.
Yeah, not much to say.
Just hope for the spark.
Yeah. The
But it's
kind of
pretty common that you
unfortunate
don't
thing.
get it.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate thing in every Unlimited Saga route is that reverse delta grinding has to happen at some point, whether it's during a boss fight or like now, like during the scenario final boss, or like now during a decent spark rate boss beforehand. Because there's no other attack in the game that's as efficient as reverse delta.
Yeah, you need reverse delta, there's no getting around that. Alright, it's dead. So no reverse delta, but that's okay.
Flashbacks
that,
of
we're
grinding
heading into the
for
final
reverse
dungeon.
delta.
Flashbacks, yeah.
Yeah.
At last! Now we can go save
Now we can go save Grandpa.
Better get back home. Hold on, Grandpa. We're almost there.
Yeah, despite Armand having that level 3 axe panel, which should be a good ability growth panel as well, you don't want it because it changes reverse delta timing. And missing one reverse delta could potentially mean you can't beat Chaos, depending on how bad the fight is.
Yeah. Alright, so decent setup. Only thing missing is reverse delta, basically. Which is pretty important, I'll give you that. But
Yeah, like having access to Splash Barrier on an Armand means that Armand's going to be a bit tankier. And because Armand's going to be out the entire fight with Chaos, the tankier he is, the better. Also having Deflect instead of Parry gives him a bit higher chance of just not taking damage sometimes, which is nice.
and we're gonna repair the axe just in case. It's pretty unnecessary. But things have happened in the past.
Last year was a disaster in many ways.
Don't really have... Oh wait, you can use that skill amulet. Alright. 97's fine.
Yeah, you can increase weapon durability through the blacksmith, but if you try and combine the wrong material, there's a chance you'll just lose time lapse, and that means that everything's over. Because you need time lapse to get access to reverse delta to beat Chaos, basically.
Yeah, that's why I saved before doing the smithing. In case it lost an ability. Here's creepy Judy.
Yeah, lots.
I'm
lots
smiling.
of things. Lots of things in this game are just random chance. Even the reels. The reels in the like when you're just walking around on the map have a 50% chance of just sliding in one direction.
Which is important for the thing coming up.
Yep. It's the best feature.
Don't remember how many turns they show up, like every 6 turns or something like that.
It's more than 6.
It's Parry Dagger. Yeah, Black Axe is also important.
Time lapse is just an attack that's on that you can get on axes, and the time lapse line has access to one of the strongest attacks in the game. So each weapon has multiple base attacks essentially. Like bows have access to quick shot, random arrow shot, multi shot, stuff like that.
So this is Deity's Table. Each scenario has a 7 Wonder. One of the 7 Wonders as its final boss, or final dungeon. The gimmick of this dungeon is that there's paper scattered, 1 paper on each floor, and they have set positions they can spawn, but which position is randomly selected. So I'm going to wander each floor, hitting every point where the paper could be until I find the paper. Then I'll head to the exit for that floor. And every, like, X amount of turns, there will be a reel that shows up with evil-looking glass. And if I fail that reel, I get a bad encounter with some birds.
The birds are jerks.
As long as the 50% drift doesn't happen, I'll never get that fight. But if the drift does happen, there's a chance I'll have to fight the birds.
Yeah, and every time you fight the birds, the amount of birds in the encounter doubles. And the reel gets harder to succeed at, to the point where you can eventually get into an encounter with 12 birds, and each bird has 3 LP and a lot of HP. Or more than 3 LP, I think, I'm not sure. But they're just very powerful birds. And because you don't have
2 LP,
access...
but they have a lot of HP.
Yeah.
So
You don't have access to good AoE options. So you're just kind of out of luck.
Oh nice, Moloch. That's a Moloch.
Very useful in the final dungeon.
I'm always wondering, like, why do they even bother having drops, but... So that's the first reel that showed up. But as long as you mash and don't get unlucky, it's not too problematic. But the problem is that the reel gets more difficult each time you do or fail the fight. What was that?
Did you pass over the paper? I don't think you did.
No.
It's been a while.
So it's in one of the 2 final locations. Yeah, time-lapse is a weird name for a move. It's probably poorly translated.
That's a legacy thing. It's been around in
is it?
a lot of SaGa games, yeah.
Alright, cool. There we go then. Oh, did I miss the paper? Were you right?
I don't know how to describe where it was. I know.
It's fine. I've never done that before.
Yeah, because it popped up with a mirror, and I was like, oh, Chaos knows what he's doing, no worries.
Alright, must be in the 3rd position. So the dungeon where you don't want to spend as much time as possible wandering around is the one I'm going to be wandering around in.
Ideally, you get through this quickly so you avoid as many bird encounters as possible.
So let's take it
Because
from the top.
learning reverse delta in the scenario final boss is okay. There's a chance you won't, but there's a pretty good chance that it'll happen.
So is it here? Oh yeah. Good call. God damn. I've never had that happen to me before. I got distracted by the encounter, I'll say. Something. So that's the paper for the first floor, so now I can head to the second. And there's only 4 locations the paper can be on the second floor, so it doesn't take as much time as the first one. First floor is the worst. And ideally it's in the first location you check, obviously, because that means you can just head straight to the exit. But it's rarely there. Seems like. It's most likely to be in the last place you check. Except the previous floor, where it was like the second place, but I missed it. Oops. Good block, Judy. So we're probably going to overkill this thing, but it does have a decent amount of LP, so we'll just do a super combo on it. Take that. If you did have reverse delta, that'd be a good fight to use it on, just to get through that enemy quickly. So it wasn't in the first location. Okay, so we got the bird fight. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's a chance to get reverse delta. So, just like the dragon fight, we just gotta spam time-lapse until we spark the move we want. And we got it.
Nice. Redemption.
So
Part
far,
2.
so good. And that takes the bird out.
And Redemption Part 3 will be when Chaos stays.
So that's good, because otherwise we'd have to get on the scenario fight, which means we'd have to get it after making a save. So
Yeah.
if we did end up wiping on Chaos, we'd have to learn it again, so it'd be nightmarish.
Now the scenario final for our final boss is gonna be very easy.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually have that much LP. He has 13 LP. With reverse delta, you can get rid of that pretty quick.
I didn't notice this was a multi-target fight. Should have just random arrow shotted. The weird thing about the fights in this dungeon is that they only show the first enemy in the encounter instead of all the ones. So I sometimes don't notice the fact that there are actually multiple creatures in the fight. Which you'd think with my eyeballs I'd be able to tell, but
Not too difficult.
yeah, relying on my thinking brain instead of my senses. Always a mistake. So now I'm heading to the third possible location the paper could be. And it's not there, so it's in the last possible location. Okay, got through that reel. Really
So,
hoping
yeah,
the
the
third
reel-
floor is quick, so we don't have to deal with the birds too much longer.
The reel becomes harder the more bird fights you get in. So that's kind of up to your discretion whether you risk taking a fight with the birds and maybe not learning reverse delta, and then risk like missing the reel later on and having more difficult fights, or if you just try and learn off the scenario final boss.
Alright, so this is the third floor. There's 5 possible locations, and they're pretty spread out, so you really hope that it's in the first place you check, or the second, because they're pretty close together. And it looks like it is. Alright. So, time to head to the final floor. And once we find the final paper, it immediately triggers the final fight. So before that, we're going to use the... What's it called?
Tetraforce.
That thing I used 7 of last run. So this acts as a
Yeah.
save point as an additional panel get. So 44 strength on Armand's pretty good. So yeah, we have pretty much the ideal setup going into the fight. But we'll save because, you know, that would be crazy if we didn't.
It would be
So, yeah,
very
final
silly.
save. It's kind of weird because as soon as you use the Tetraforce, you can't use it again until you have lost a bunch of LP. Okay. I could have just reset, though, if I did get that bird fight. So if I did accidentally not save there, I couldn't just go back in and save. So you gotta be pretty careful there. Yeah, nothing left to do. Just get the final paper, head into the final bosses. Our setup's complete. We have reverse delta. Our panels are good. One thing left to do is for Chaos not to troll me, and for me to not miss reverse delta. One thing is more likely than the other. But we're well on our way to finishing the redemption arc. And spark backslash. That's actually good to spark here, so we don't spark it when it's less opportune, because it will still kill that enemy.
Okay.
So this is the first location the paper could be. It's not there. You really don't want it to be the 5th, 6th, or 7th location because they are really far off. You hope it's up here. Alright, got the reel, and it seems like the paper's here. Yeah, okay. So time for Clyde Blackstorm. And this fight's free because we have reverse delta. The only thing that could make this fight rough is if you don't have it yet. Vic's a big fan of redemption. So, by drinking the blood of a vampire, he sold his body to a vampire. He became young again. I guess that's what the forbidden spell was all about. 2 out of 3 is passing, I agree.
There's no turning back now.
So we're going to use a pretty standard formation here. We don't really need to have a tank because we have reverse delta, but we want to use Bone Crusher to try and spark an ability so that we don't accidentally spark an ability with Bone Crusher during the Chaos fight.
Even with women and children.
Yeah, Bone Crusher is very important in the final phase to reduce the chance of taking LP damage.
But he has 13 LP, not too much HP, so you start doing LP damage pretty quickly. He does have a lot of moves, though. They're pretty low damaging. It tends to be that spells are generally pretty low LP damage, but high HP damage, until you get to the very high level spells. And as long as you don't take half your LP's worth of damage during this fight, you'll go into the Chaos fight with full HP and full LP. Because you regain half your LP, as mentioned before. And it's also a weird thing, like you'll notice if I hit him, he actually splits in 2. And he's like still old underneath the cape, so I really don't know what's going on. Rather not think about it. To be safe, I'm taking Roy out as the tank, because he was getting somewhat close to half LP.
Or your parry and deflect block is being used now.
Nah.
Nah.
All luck all day.
The SaGa way.
So he should be dead this turn, then the nightmare will truly begin. But the nightmare is for Chaos. Which Chaos? I'll leave that up to you to deciding. Because my name's Chaos, it's like a joke, you know. Alright, so we're going to the Chaos fight, also known as Chaos Ruler. I'm gonna let Falcon commentate this, because I'm gonna be focusing on both managing my LPs and hitting the reverse deltas and all that.
Yeah, big focus. Unlike the Ruby run earlier in the marathon, having one axe user, you have to actually keep track of a lot of things. But yeah, Chaos, 4th phase fight, 20,000 HP, and the first form has 22 LP, so basically what Chaos is going to be doing, what our Chaos is going to be doing is buffing up Armand and debuffing bad Chaos, and then just using reverse deltas.
Just say we. instead of...
We yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so the first couple of turns are just going to be buffing and debuffing. Every turn after that is going to be with 2 tanks, and depending on how low LP the tanks get, 1 tank. Using multi-shots and trying to combo reverse deltas to deal as much HP and LP damage as possible. So first form can open or close his wings, or the first 3 forms can, but it's more prevalent in the first form. Can have his wings open or closed. When his wings are closed, he does physical attacks more often, but has more defense, basically. So Weapon Blessing and Armor Blessing are both used just to increase damage through this first form. Phase changes are fairly important in this fight because actions carry over between phases, since it's still technically the same battle. So if Chaos has 3 actions this phase, if Chaos goes into phase 2 and still has those 3 actions, he'll attack 3 times using the attacks he has access to in the second phase, which can be pretty devastating.
You're all wrapped up in this thing causing trouble, and all for what?
What turn you beat this first phase on also determines what second phase you get. There's a magic phase and a physical phase. An interesting version difference between the English version and the Japanese version is that the magic phase, the blue mask phase, in the Japanese version has 10 more LP than it does in the English version. So the Japanese fight is a lot tougher because you have a turn limit on the first phase. It's technically possible to beat the blue mask phase in the Japanese version, but it's very, very difficult. But yeah, it's basically like reverse delta is the key strategy for Chaos. And the entire run has just been preparation for this fight. He does a whole lot of damage and has a whole lot of attacks. So now his wings are open, he has less defense now and starts using magic. So reverse delta is more important now to combo with double shots or triple shots and start dealing a lot of HP damage. Because if the HP is 0, you do a lot of LP damage, but even if it's only like out of 20,000, he's at 15,000, you'll still be able to do LP damage fairly consistently. But yeah, 22 LP, it's kind of a pain to get through. Thankfully, this phase only has 3 actions. The worst phases haven't come up yet. But it's going pretty good so far.
Yeah, Rebecca's taken more LP damage than I'd like. That's the only thing that's really gone bad.
You can still just rotate her out.
Yeah.
Because thankfully Roy has a lot of LP. Breath of Chaos is the worst attack. Well, not really the worst, but Breath of Chaos has a chance of inflicting a status effect called Blackout, and that messes everything up big time. And again, like, the Ruby run earlier went really well, and while it was played very well, a lot of that can also be attributed to the fact that you have 2 axe users. You have a bit more flexibility in the phases. But because you only have access to 1 axe user in this run, you need to be really careful and adjust tanks, like adjust who's out on the field and who isn't. Because if a man takes too much LP damage, you're kind of screwed, really.
Okay, so far so good.
Aren't the seven wonders the symbol of our hopes and dreams?
Oh yeah, Rebecca's super screwed actually. Yeah, Rebecca only having 3 LP isn't
Ooh.
great.
Yeah, I didn't see the.
Yeah, that's a clutch block from Armand, because Sword Dance has potential to do a lot of LP damage.
Yeah. There's like hidden modifiers in the game that can also deal LP damage on top of just having the flat chance to. So if an attack deals more than 499 HP damage, if an attack deals more than 999, if it deals more than your current HP and your max HP, there's chances for it to inflict LP damage on top of the usual just flat chance. So yeah, phase 2, red mask phase, which is ideal. 16 LP and 4 actions. So previous phase had 3 actions, so it wasn't too bad. But now he has 1 extra, and every action only really counts as 1 action, unlike later on in the fight. But 16 LP, and he hasn't recovered his HP, so if he's below 10,000, he'll go back up to 10,000, but it means that you can start dealing LP damage right away. You don't have to try and get through the HP buffer. But it's a similar strategy to phase 1, just trying to combo into reverse delta and manage tanks and try to balance out LP damage as much as you can. Aman's in a pretty good situation now, 18 LP out of 21. He doesn't have access to too many mean attacks, so that's good. Phase 3, he starts getting access to a lot more meaner attacks, unfortunately. So yeah, despite bows technically being really quick in the turn order, the more actions Chaos has, the less chance you have of pulling off a combo. So he can interrupt it like he did there. Benefits of the Black Axe start showing here as well. Like 800 HP damage is very good. If you had a Steel Axe, you'd be doing 500, 600, which isn't that great. Chaos can inherit an attack from Scenario Final Boss. So in this case he inherited Voidwalker, which is thankfully not that bad of an attack. Doesn't deal that much damage, has a chance of inflicting Confuse, which isn't the worst. So now phase 3. 11 LP but 5 actions, so doesn't have a lot of LP, thankfully. But he has a lot of actions, so if you kill him too quickly, and he still has actions left, he'll start using all of his phase 4 attacks, and that is very dangerous. He starts getting access to Ravenblade now, and Ravenblade is very powerful. The Slash Barrier armor we bought earlier, we basically bought purely for Ravenblade, because it's a physical slashing attack. If we can reduce the amount of HP damage it does, we use Bone Crusher in the final phase to help with this as well. But the less HP damage it does, the less chance we'll take 3 LP damage in one go. Lots of very good deflects and parries going off, which helps a lot.
It's not good for Joseph, but that's okay.
Yeah, he's a particularly important. He's your clutch character.
Yeah, he's... Oh, well, everyone else is dead. Better send in that guy.
So the phase is pretty low on LP at this point, so Chaos is going to queue up a Bone Crusher and try and get off a combo with Reverse Delta. And this is just to... Well, that's right, yeah, he's going to try to use a raw Reverse Delta because it's a very slow action, and try and get Chaos to use as many attacks as possible. And then kill Chaos with either a raw Reverse Delta or a comboed one. so that when he goes to the next phase, Bone Crusher can be used immediately, and he can just go right into trying to get the final phase's HP down.
Okay, phase 4.
So yeah, this phase is the worst phase in the fight. He gets 20,000 HP back, so you have to reduce his HP by 5 or 6,000 before you can start dealing LP damage again. And he has access to 7 actions. He also has access to Overkill, an ability called Overkill, which is an AoE attack that almost always deals 3 LP damage. They're just a very dangerous fight. He doesn't have as many access to as many attacks as he previously did, but all the attacks he has access to are very, very dangerous. So yeah, Bone Crusher reduces strength, so it reduces Raven Blade's damage, which is nice. And now it's just yeah, trying to get the HP down. If you can try and keep track of Chaos's actions and try and get combos off. But the unfortunate thing is that 7 actions and Chaos is pretty quick. If you try and pull off a combo, there's a pretty good chance you'll just get unlucky and get owned by a bunch of attacks at once. So if you have a good setup like Chaos does now, like we do now, like Black Axe, good strength, good LP, you can just use raw reverse deltas and not really worry. But if your setup is less than ideal, you start trying for combos. So I haven't seen Overkill yet, which is good.
Magic in the world can't bring happiness.
Ten LP on Armand is passable, but not the best. That means you need 2 tanks out at all times to try and reduce the chance of getting hit. If Armand had 14 or 15 LP, you could just have 1 tank out and have more reverse deltas queued up. This is where having 1 axe user starts to really show. If you had 2 axe users, you'd have a close to full LP axe user for here, so you could just have 1 tank out and have more chances of dealing HP damage, but unfortunately we can't really do that in Judy. So LP damage is starting to be dealt, which means that his HP is low enough. So now it's just a matter of trying to get as much damage in as you can while Armand is still alive and your tanks are still alive. Joseph and Rebecca having lowish LP means that any clutch situations are going to be pretty dangerous. I think that's 4 LP damage on Chaos now. Neutron Slap has a low chance of dealing LP damage, but because it's AoE, it'll just reduce everyone's HP lower if it's not already a 0, so it can be pretty dangerous. The critical gun hit has a good chance of dealing LP damage as well. Yeah, this is Overkill. It can consume 3 actions of Chaos's 7, but it doesn't always. So if it's used when he only has 1 action left, he can still use it despite it taking up 3 actions, which is what happened there. So the fight can still be pretty good, but if things go the wrong way this turn, things are gonna look pretty bad. Ooh. So yeah, Aman started dealing 3 LP now, so Chaos's HP is low enough. The other characters are going to be able to deal LP damage as well.
Okay, Armand's down.
Oof. Now it's just a damage race. See, Armand's body is going to stay there in the field. I don't think we brought it up this round, but a character that has 0 LP or blackout or something to that effect will stay out on the field and take up an attack slot. So, depending on how far you are into the fight, you may want to rescue him off the field and try and free up the attack slot, or just try and bum rush Chaos down. That's a combo.
Yeah, it is.
Void Walker, Neutron Slab, oof. I'm surprised I'll let you combo both the Holy Cells, to be honest. Characters will recover HP while they're in the back and not out on the field, which is why you see Rebecca having full HP. Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the run that bows have a good chance of dealing LP damage, and it starts to really show now. But yeah, Ruby went really well, and this is what happens when a Chaos fight doesn't go as well as it could. Is things start to look very sketchy. But you'll have your other characters set up such that if this happens, you can try and recover.
I'm rested and ready to go.
It's unfortunate Rebecca didn't spark anything there.
This isn't looking good.
Yeah. Nice.
He's out!
Yes! Nice!
Sorry, I just threw my headphones. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
Kurt sparking triple shots there is very lucky. And that's what I mean about a damage race. You just go. You just have to pray.
Oh my god. I
But yeah,
was so
redemption.
screwed there. Oh, I gotta...
Redemption, there you go.
We did
Congrats.
it. We did it. We don't have to fight chaos anymore. Oh, I like freaked out there. I threw my controller, I threw my headphones.
Yeah,
I
dude.
popped off. Oh god.
For all the calm about like defeating Chaos during Ruby, Judy Chaos is another thing entirely.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, it was great. I gotta calm down. Whoa. I was not keeping track of how much LP damage I did. I thought I had like 10 to go.
I thought you only had like 2 more left after the Kurt's attack. I didn't realize you were so low.
Yeah. But yeah, went not great, but you know, we pulled it through in the end.
Yeah,
That's all
how
that
it
matters.
goes.
Oh my god. So
Hey.
before we wrap this up, gotta give a shout outs. First of all, shouts to Bick for always organizing these SaGa marathons. We're already thinking about SaGa 2020, so
Yeah,
it's
I'm
encouraging
excited.
to know that he's still willing to put up with us SaGa runners after all we put him through. Shouts to the restreamers, obviously. Falcon and HD, I would not be running this game if you didn't have your initial interest, and also you
I'm
commentating
sorry.
half the runs of this
I am
marathon.
sorry I introduced you to this disaster of a game, but it's good fun.
It's
We
all
love
worked
it.
out. It's some of the most it is the most exciting moments I've ever had speedrunning.
Yeah, Chaos is a thrill, dude. Chaos is so good.
As you saw. Maybe not the most marathon-friendly game based on what you just saw, but definitely the most exciting. Oh yeah, my mind's blanking. But yeah, Cat Claw, obviously, he founded basically a lot of SaGa running, not just this game. He was an early runner for a lot of SaGa games. Like SaGa
Yeah, he's
Frontier.
helped out. He's helped out with a lot of the more modern SaGa games. It's good.
The stuff with Clyde was a big shock for him.
But yeah,
But yeah,
last year was a bit of a train wreck. I've spent the last year kind of living with that regret. It's like, oh man, I should have prepared more. And it was always leading up to this SaGa marathon where I would hopefully redeem myself. And maybe not a pure redemption with that chaos fight, but it was the most... I'm glad we showed off, like, the, you know, 2-axe user easy chaos fight than, like, the
Yeah.
craziness that was.
that's how bad Chaos fight can go, and you can still win.
Yeah. It's always fun when you win in the desperation phase. It's obviously a lot slower, because obviously...
Yeah,
having
there's
our
no
mod still
consistent
alive will
LP
do a lot
damage.
more LP
but-
damage. Time is coming up. I'll put that in Discord chat as well. Yeah, it was fun. Hope you enjoyed that chaos fight. It's whenever someone watches the speedrun, it's basically just to watch that fight because you never know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. The rest of it's just kind of a bunch of setup. So yeah, time is when I save. And my time is 1:46:07, so a pretty bad run in terms of I was saving and doing safety stuff and all that. It was under estimate. I gave it 150. That's all that counts. It's funny because I made the estimate as like, I'll have a time to fight chaos twice, but
yeah, that's
evidently
hopeful.
not. But yeah, it's about time I hand it over to Bix. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Falcon, for holding down for half the runs.
No worries, dude. It's been fun.
All right, so yeah. It's probably on to Bix, so farewell. Hope you all enjoyed, and see ya.
Bye.
Alright, what up, everybody? It's your man, Big Fong Balls. I just definitely want to thank everybody who watched any amount of the 15, 16 hours of SaGa today. It's been a wild ride. They already mentioned before, both of our youth SaGa runs last year didn't make it, so nice to see it 2 for 2 this time. You also heard that we'll definitely be back for SaGa 2020, so look forward to that. Should be a good one. We already got some ideas in place. And yeah, you know, you see a lot of it in chat all the time of like, some people like these games, a lot of people, they probably like it too, but also want to like, you know, point out all the weirdness about the game. This is all there, don't get me wrong. But it's like, you know, this is a group of people who definitely love these games. And it's always nice to see them kind of just like show their stuff in front of a slightly bigger audience. So we'll be happy to be back and keep showcasing these people doing their SaGa speedruns. And there's definitely some new releases and whatnot coming. So definitely expecting some cool stuff here in the next year. So I got someone we're gonna host, but until next summer for SaGa 2020, y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow everybody.